Welcome back to Rock Stardust. Today we're looking at a real cool article that came out in Melody Maker back in 1978 with an interview with J.J. Burnell and Hugh from the Stranglers. And it's an interesting one because there was an interviewer, a journalist called Harry Doherty, who didn't give a very favourable review of Black and White. And let's put it this way, he was going to head down the same, path as many other journos had in the past with some sort of retribution. So they sent another guy in instead to take over that and do that interview. And his name's Chris Brazier. So, so this is a really interesting little insight. So Jean-Jacques Burnell, or JJ, stalks around the table like a caged leopard as he speaks, pervading the atmosphere was a sense of unrelenting physicality. His hands bandage after a bike crash the night before. Hugh Cornwall stares at me from the seat on the other side of the table, his expression fixed, somewhat between hostility and curiosity. Wow. And Dave Greenfield's there, he sits tight, really contributing. Jet Black hasn't shown up yet. Cornwall reckons the only journalists he's ever liked have given it up pretty quickly. The only good reporters are dead ones. Jeez. It's not exactly an honourable profession, is it? Journalists don't seem to have the right ideas about anything. Mindless writing. Give it up. Become a bus driver. They are all being aggrieved and angered to an amazing degree by Harry Doherty's review for the Black and White album, Melody Maker, May 20th, 1978, which seems both innocuous and approving to me. Burnell's reaction, particularly, is ridiculously extreme. He punctuates his threats by kicking the wall with unnerving venom, unmistakably proud of having attacked the sounds writer, John Savage. We know that story, right? That's a classic. He bundled it up into the Boozer car. Yeah. After his review on the second album. Yeah, in fact, I wanted to see Harry Doherty here to discuss it with him. Yeah, right. Yeah, discuss it, yeah. There's no point in discussing things like he answers menacingly. It was condescending, and I don't like being patronized by people with smaller brains than ourselves. He will go the same way as John Savage. Right. Tell him to stay out of town and keep out of my way. That's classic. I cannot accept personal criticism because it's not valid. It's vindictive. Some of these writers have personality problems. I gotta love that. You just couldn't criticize the Stranglers at that time. There's just no way. Or you'd be, tied to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Or beaten up. But all we do is express our opinion. He's not expressing his own opinion. He's expressing his own paranoias and weaknesses and phobias. There you go. Just because they have an ideal or something like John Savage, who got his face crunched. Jeez, he stresses the word with obvious relish. If writers upset people through their bitterness and personal hang-ups, then they've got to expect to be put upon. It's the law of the jungle. Certainly, otherwise you end up like Sweden. There you go. A country they have no love for, as their song All Quiet on the Eastern Front shows. This is a really interesting article, and just shows at that time, that the Stranglers were a real handful. And especially with JJ, these threats would be taken out in full frontal violence if needed to be. And Jet was pretty, he could have his moments too, those two mainly. But yeah, what an interesting, state of affairs at that time. And you had to really mind your P's and Q's when you were interviewing the Stranglers. So they go into detail about Sweden, Marxist leanings, looking at some of the music that they'd done prior, And then it comes up to, you know, their association at the time with the Hells Angels and the Finchley Boys, you know. So the journalist is saying that, you know, being derogatory towards the Hells Angels, JJ doesn't really respect that because he doesn't think he has any knowledge on the topic or understand it, you know, from any really valid point. Still, you know, the Hells Angels fit into the Stranglers story pretty well with their stress on male comradeship, especially as warriors, and the subservient, sex-orientated role that women play in the Angels scheme of things. The Stranglers are one of the most masculine macho of rock bands, and they have encouraged a tight-knit, tough following in the Finchley Boys, which is probably comparable to the Angels. With this preoccupation with hard, aggressive, and hopefully outdated maleness in mind, Death in the Night and Blood, Yukio, from the new album, becomes a song of central importance. I asked Burnell about the chorus, which seems unrelated to the rest of the words. Hey little baby, don't you lean down low. Your brain's exposed and it's starting to show your rotten thoughts, Yulch. And this, he talks about that association there with understanding what Yukio was writing about, and clearly the journalist didn't have any understanding of that. So there was a bit of a moment there. And we're going into the feminist side, chauvinistic Stranglers. It's interesting. They talk about this. Okay, so the partial level of tits on the album's free single, a piece they claim was included to play up the male chauvinism and thus take the piss out of moralistic journalist Hugh. Every song we write is in praise of women, yet everyone thinks we hate them. But you only praise them as objects of male desire, says the journalist. So that's what they've always been. But that's the role they're trying to break out of, and we should be helping them. You reckon they are? About 5% maybe? The greatest enemy to breaking out are the other women who don't want to break out. You wouldn't object to being sex objects yourselves then. This is classic JJ. Everyone wants to be a sex object. When you're trying to pull a chick, man, don't tell me that you wouldn't like her to be after your body. Don't be a middle-class intellectual bigot. I mean, when you want to turn a chick on, or a guy, if that's your problem, then do you say, love me for my mind? Well, actually, good point. There is so much bigotry about these highfalutin liberal ideas. There you go. So you can see where they were coming across as the band, and there was so much animosity to it. You know, for good and bad. Everything has its place, but hey, it's classic. But nothing, he shouts violently, losing control for a frightening second, then laughs it off and says sorry. Jesus. Oh, JJ, classic. Hugh with contemptuously exaggerated politeness. Does that clear the point up? Well, no. Oh, why not? I launch into a futile attempt to persuade them that women are oppressed and degraded by traditional male attitudes, to which their only response is, Burnell's, always give a woman a good orgasm? Very, very important. Too many men are selfish. Despairing, I give it one more try. What do you think of the woman's movement then? Hugh, I like women to move when I'm on top of them. And JJ, I like most women's movements. This is just absolutely classic, man. It's a different time, and I've got to be honest, I just wanted to share this because I came across this article, and it's a lot of fun. And hey, look, do appreciate your support, so thank you for all of those that have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, please do subscribe. Leave your comments there. You know, it's great to build that community up and share all our ideas. There's so many collective ideas out there that blow me away. I learned so much about the band and this time and period, you know, and all the adventures with JJ and stuff. So yeah, look, thanks again. Yep, Like and subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section. And thanks again for watching Rockstars. We'll see you next week. Cheers.